Hello everyone, this is Kenneth Bruni from Tech and welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we are going to build this interface using Bootstrap. And trust me, everything you see over here is with Bootstrap 5.1. And at the time of recording this video, this is about the latest version of Bootstrap. There is no single line of CSS in this particular interface, and we are going to see everything as we build along. So I have VS Code open up over here, and the resources I need for this one are the two images in the design. So here we have this image, and the next one is this image over here. All right, so I'll leave the link in the description below of all the resources you need for this particular project. So over here, I'll create in a file, and I'll call this index.html. So I think I need to respell this index. All right, so since you are using Bootstrap, you need to get the Bootstrap CDN, and the link is going to be getbootstrap.com. I'll leave this link in the description below, and I've covered this in other videos. I'll leave the link in the description of a playlist where you can have access to the very basic to advanced concepts of Bootstrap. So I'll click on this link, all releases, and I'll click on the version 5.1. Then I'll scroll down and come and click to copy the starter template over here. So right over here, I'll just paste this and I'll save this. I'm going to open this up in Live Server. So I'll open it up in Live Server, and here we are. We have this over here. Okay, so I'll need all these tabs showing up over here because I want to have a preview of what we already built and what we are building now. Then I also need the Bootstrap website over here because you're going to grab a lot of things over here. Like I said, I've already covered this Bootstrap in the other videos, and I just want us to move very fast. So the first thing we are going to look at is the navbar, and we have to come in here. And first of all, I would want us to change the title to home. So I'll put up a comment over here. So I'll get rid of this and I'll put up a comment over here. So I'll call this navbar. Then what I'll do is I'll duplicate this. So Shift, Alt, and a down arrow key, and I'll bring end navbar over here so that I know where it is starting and where it is ending. So I'll get into getbootstrap.com, and I need to go into components. So just over here, I'll go to components, and within components, I have navbar over here. So I'll click on this link, and we'll pick up this one and do some few modifications to it. So I'll copy this, and I'll just paste it over here. So I'll do a Control V and Control S to save. Now, when I come back here, we see this navbar showing up. So what we have over here is this entire thing is within a container class and not a container fluid. What we have over here is in a container fluid. So in order to get this done, we just need to come to the very top over here, and you can see that we have this originally in the container fluid. So I'm going to clear this fluid, and now we have the container class. So you can see that our navbar is beginning to take shape. Now, with the final website, you can see that this we are going to get rid of this, and we are going to center this in the middle. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get rid of the form. So the form is somewhere here, and this is the form. So I'll just get rid of this and save. And in order to get, let me show you, in order to get this centered, there's a simple trick that we must look out for. So this is a navbar -nav class over here, and this is a unordered list UL tag. Okay, and that's where we have the link and everything over here. Okay, the home, the link, the drop down, and everything. So what I want is this particular ME-auto. That's a margin end auto. When I do margin start auto and save this, it's going to float everything to the right, as you see over here, or to the end. So when I just do M-auto, M-auto is going to put this in the center, and that's exactly what we have over here. So I'm going to change the names to home, portfolio, block, and contact us as we have over here. So this is going to be home, portfolio, then we have block, then finally we have contact us over here. So I'll save this, and we have home, portfolio, block, contact us, and that's exactly what we have over here. Now what I also did was I put the shadow utility class on the nav so that we have that shadow effect. So in order to get that done, you just need to come to the very top over here where we have our navbar class. You can just add in the shadow utility class. So I'll just do shadow, and I think, yeah, we are in business. So this looks cool. Now the next thing to do is to change this navbar over here. So I have brands and style. So for brands and style, first of all, I have an icon over there. We are going to look at the icon. But what I had over here was I had a span tag like this. Okay, so this is where the icon will sit. And I also had another span tag, and I had brands and style. So I'll save this, and we are going to search for the icon. But then this is just a preview. So this is the brands and style as we have it over here, and we are going to just change the icon over here. So once again into Bootstrap, and we are going to go and click on this icon link over here. So the first thing we need to do is to do the installation, obviously. So I'll click on install, and it will send me down. We are going to use the CDN. So with the CDN under this section, I'm just going to click on this to copy the link, and I'll come in here, and inside of my head tag, like I said, I've demonstrated this in the other videos, so you can just take a look at them. So I'll say Bootstrap icons CDN. Then what I'll do is I'll just paste it over here. All right, so now we can go in and grab some of the icons over here. So I'll quickly go up, and I'll do a quick search. I think the name of this icon is Strava. Yeah. So I'll just click on this, and I'll just click on this to copy it, and I'll come down in here and paste it here, and I'll save. So after going through that process, here we have brands and style, and as you can see, we had this a little bit, we changed the color over here. That's why I put it in a span tag, so that we can apply a Bootstrap class on it. So I can come in here and do a class of txt-info. So when I save this and come back, now we have this. Okay, so the next thing we are going to look at is this image over here and how we style things over here. Now what I have over here is I have a row. Okay, I have this section, a row, and I've divided it into 2 columns. Okay, so here's call 6, and this is also call 6. So what I can do is just under the end navbar, and that's why I have all these commented out over here, so that I'll know exactly what I'm doing. So I'll say profile section, and I'll do a shift alt down arrow key, and I'll end this session over here. So what I need is I actually need a container class. Oh no, this is going to be a container fluid because it's going to stretch across. So I'll come in here and do a dot container dash fluid, and what I need is I need a row, and I need a call, and I'll do call dash md dash 6. So first of all, the first section is going to have the image, and let me just add in the image over here, and I'm going to navigate through my images folder and what I need is the image or img.jpg, and I'm just going to have a profile image over here. All right, and if I come back here, you can see that the image is very huge. We are going to size everything up, and that's very simple. We just have to come in here and add in a Bootstrap class of img-fluid. So when I do img-fluid and come in here, and we can see that now things have been sized up. Okay, so all that the img-fluid does is it is making this entire image taking the original size of the call that we have over here. All right, so inside of this we can also have a call-md, and it's going to take the other session, and we are left with 6, so we have to choose 6. And some of the few things we have over here is we have this text showing up over here. So this is the text. So the UI/UX designer and software engineer. All that we need to do is, first of all, this is what I did. I had a paragraph in here, and inside of the paragraph I had a couple of span tags. So I have the UI/UX, because as you can see, this is one color and designer is also going to be another color. So designer is also going to be in a span tag. So I'll come back here and do a span, and I'll do designer. Then what I did was I had the end also in a span. It's kind of a little bit, I don't know what to say, but that's what I did. Then the next one was software engineer, was also in one span tag. So this is also software engineer. All right, so I'll save this and let's have a preview of what we have. Okay, so we have this showing up this way. Okay, now we are going to find means and ways to increase the font size, and over here what I did was I used a display font size over here. So with a typography, I can just come in inside of the paragraph because everything is going to be a display. Okay, so I can do a class and I'll do display -2. So when I do a display -2 and come back, you can see that things are beginning to look better. Okay, at least with the design. So I also had everything capitalized, so I can do a text uppercase for the text transform property. So txt-uppercase is going to transform everything into an uppercase, and that's exactly what we have over here. So there's supposed to be some kind of spacing. Okay, because with the original design we have some spacing over here, and probably I think I did a display 4. Let me try display 4 and see. Okay, so I think display 4 is looking good. So what I remember doing was I also added a line height over here. So let me come back and also do a line height -LG to come up with a long line height, and things are beginning to look cool over here. Now I just need to add in the colors. So with the colors, I had in this as warning, then I had success, danger, and primary. So this will be a class of warning, txt-warning, txt-warning. Then the next one, which is the designer, I'm going to have a class of txt-success for the green color. Then the end is going to be a danger, so class of txt-danger. Then the software engineer is going to be a class of txt-primary. So I'll save this, and I think we are in business one way or the other. Okay, so I think there's some kind of spacing that needs to appear over here, and let me have a look at it. So let me do this and save, and here we are. All right, so as you can see, this is almost like centered in the middle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I can come to the very top. Okay, this is a parent class, that's a row, and first column 6 is having the image and the other is having this text we are displaying over there. I need to come into the row and do a justify content, and I'll do center. So this is almost like the flexbox properties we are trying to apply over here. And when I come, we don't seem to see anything yet, but then we are gradually going to see the change with the next property we add, and that's going to be the align dash items dash center. So align item center is going to center everything over here for us, and that's exactly what we have with this. So the next thing I need to do is to bring in the rest of the text we have over here. But one of the things I also did was I applied a class over here. So as you can see, the navbar is sticked to the top. Okay, so whenever you scroll down, the navbar stays where it is, and with this one it is disappearing. So we just have to come back to the very top of the navbar class. Okay, and I'll just do sticky dash top. So sticky top is going to make it stick to the top. So back over here now, when I scroll, you can see that everything is sticking to the top. Okay, so now let's continue. So the next thing I need to add is this text over here. So I am Kenneth Bruni, and what I did was they are also in a display -4 tag, so I can put up a class like this, and I'll say I am, and I'll say Kenneth. Let me do this capital I, so I don't have to come and change a lot of things over here. And I also did something like a font weight, and I did bold over here. So I'll save this and I'll just duplicate this. So a shift alt and a down arrow key, and I just change this to Bruni, and let me type in Bruni over here. Okay, and I think, yeah, that's about it over here. Then the next thing I need to work on is the buttons, the 2 buttons over here, and that's with the about me and hire me. So with the about me and hire me, those are just links, and I can just put them over here. So inside of a div, let's put a div over here, and let's have a link tag or an anchor tag, and let's just type in hire me. And what I had over here was also the Bootstrap icon for the nav. So I can just come in here and come and copy this. So I'll do a Ctrl+C, and I'll come down here and put it over here. And all that I need to do is I had a class of btn dash info. Then I think I had a txt dash white. Then, so let's save this and see how things will look like. So this is looking great, and I use the rounded peel around it. Okay, so for the rounded peel, that's also very simple. So I just have to add a rounded dash peel over here, and what I can now do is I can add in a class of my. Okay, so margin to the top and bottom of, let's say, 3. So I'll save this, and now when I come in here, it is looking good. I don't know exactly, but then it's looking at like the original. So I have hire me over here. I need to have about me. So I'll just grab the whole of this, and I'll do a Ctrl+C and paste it over here. So I'll change this to about me, and I'll save this. And yeah, I think we are in business. So I just have to separate this a little bit. So that's just going to be a margin over here. I can put in a margin over here. So let me just do a margin, and this is going to be a margin end. Okay, no, I think a margin start. So let's do a margin start of 3 when I save this and come back here. Okay, so it's supposed to be a margin end. So margin end of 3. And here we are. Okay, so this is looking awesome. All right, so the next thing we are going to look at is with this session over here. So I have this text, so let me just copy this text. Okay, and let's just come in here, and inside of this, I mean under this div, we can come in here and let me check this one out. So this is a core. Okay, we need to come under the core, and let's just have a div. Okay, let's just have a div, and let's have an h3 and paste this over here. So I'll do a Control S to save, and here we are with this particular text. So now we just need to apply some margin to the top and kind of center this. So in order to do this, I'm just going to give a class over here of txt-center, and I'll do an empty, so margin to the top of 4. And let me see this and come back here. Okay, so we are making some progress. I think the margin to the top is a little bit wider than what we have over here, but then let's copy this message over here. So at enables us to find ourselves and lose ourselves at the same time. I don't know who said this, but that person definitely said something. Then over there, I think I had this in a paragraph. So within this paragraph, I also have some classes over here. So I can do a class of the font style. Okay, so I can do the font style, and I had this italic. So this is italic, and once I come back here, you can see that we have this showing up over here. Now we need to have some space down, okay, because there's some space over here. So I think we just have to come in here and give a margin bottom, and let's do 5. So let's come back here, and yes, we have this margin bottom over here. Now the next thing we need to concentrate on is with the portfolio section. Okay, so let's come back over here and let's get out of this profile section and let's create another section. So I'm going to add some comments over here. Then I'll say profile section. Then I'll do a shift alt down arrow key to duplicate this and put an end to the profile section. So let's see the profile section. The profile section will be, or it is in a container class, and we have some rows and we have some columns over here. Okay, so let's do a dot container to have a div of class container, and we have a row. Now inside of the row we have 1 2 3 4. So this is 4 sections or 4 columns, so it's going to be 3 each. So let's just design one and duplicate the other so that we can move very fast over here. So I'll do a dot core dash md, and I'm going to do md 3 because I want 4 of them. So I'll do md 3. And before we even proceed, let's have this portfolio typed in over here. So I'll just copy this, Control C, and just above the row I have an h3, and I'll paste this over here. And let me see something. Okay, so let's just have the entire row have a class of txt-center so that everything will be centered. And let me have this portfolio have a class of txt-info so that it'll have that info color. So inside of this core I have a card. So but before we even proceed, let's see exactly what's happening over here so that we don't get confused. So this is what we've done so far. Okay, so this is a portfolio. Now let's have the card. So inside of this you can have a class of card over here within a div, and let's do a dot card body so that we can have the card body in here. And inside of the card body we have a text. Okay, we have a text, that's a Bootstrap theme. So let me just copy this Bootstrap themes, Control C, and let's just have an H3 over here. And no, I think this should be in an H4 tag, and let's do Bootstrap themes over here, and we are going to have the icon over here as well. So with the icon, let me just copy this, and if your guess is as good as mine, Bootstrap has some level of consistency with the naming of the icons. So like I showed in the series, you can see that it all starts with BI, I mean the prefix BI, then BI dash the name of the icon. So here we have Bootstrap icon dash Strava. So what I have with the first one is actually Bootstrap, okay, and I'll show you exactly how to get it, but then that's what I did. I have Bootstrap over here. So let me come back here and come and refresh, because my live server is down and the image is going to appear. So that's what we have over here. All right, now let me also add in this class over here, so that on this row, okay, we can have an my. So margin to the top and bottom. Let me see here, to the top and bottom. So let's do a margin, and this is going to affect this portfolio. It's going to stretch this over here, but then let's do it that way. So we have a margin to the top and bottom. Let's do 5. So when I do 5 like this, you can see that this is further stretched. So let's go and close the margin we gave onto this particular paragraph tag over here. Let's go and close it down. So I think, yeah, so the margin bottom, I don't think we need this again. So yeah, this is looking good. All right, so with this Bootstrap class we have over here, let me see exactly what we have. Let me come back to the card, and let's just, first of all, let me just do a Control X and put this in a span tag, so that I just want to apply some Bootstrap classes over here. So I can do a class, and I can give this a class of H3, so that I increase the font size of the icon. So here we have this icon being increased over here. So I think H3 is even small. Let's do an H1 and see how this will look like. So H1 is not as big as I want it to be. So let's try display. Let's do a display 4. So I think display 4 will do it for us. Okay, then let's change the font size over here, because this is a little bit too big, okay, as compared to the original design we have over here. So let's do H3. No, H3 is rather going to make it bigger. So let's do H5 over here, and let's come back and inspect what we have. It may look a little bit different, but then yeah, this is cool. Now let's give a little bit of a margin over here. Okay, a margin over here. So let's do a margin bottom, and I think yeah, this is just about it. So coming in here, we can add in a class of margin bottom, and let's do a margin bottom of, let's say 3. So I'll save this, and yeah, I think this looks exactly like what we have over here. Now I had a shadow class on this card over here, so let's also do that. So onto this card I have a shadow like this. Okay, then I think what then is the most important thing is to change the color over here, and that's why you put it in a span tag, so that we can add in a number of classes over here. So I can do txt-info for the class of the icon, and this is exactly what we want. And yeah, no, I think this should be primary, and this should be primary as well. Okay, so let me change this to primary, and let me change this to primary as well. Okay, so we have this going for us, and I think we are making some progress. So all that we need to do is to duplicate this 3 other times. So I'll just come in here and come and highlight the entire column. Okay, the entire column. So I'll just do a Control C and I'll paste this, Control V, Control V, Control V. I'll save this, and if I come here, this is exactly what we've done so far. Now I need to also separate this, so I just have to apply a margin button over here so that I kind of separate this. So let's come to the portfolio and let's do a margin. So let's do an MB of, let's say 3. So I'll save this, and NB of 3 is not as good as we wanted it to be, so NB of 4 and margin bottom 4. Okay, I think 5 should do it. So NB 5. Yeah, and I think we are in business. So now let's change this, and the next thing we have over here is Windows app, iOS app, and UX UI design. So let's come in here, and the next one is Windows app. So we can do a Windows for the text, Windows apps, and I think the icon is bi-windows. Like I said, I'm going to show you exactly how to come by all these. So I'll save this, and the other one is iOS apps. So iOS apps, and I think the extension over here is Apple. Then this one I don't remember. I'll go and check it out. So I have UI-UX design. All right, so I'll save this, and I need to come in here and come and refresh because the live server is down. All right, so basically this is what we have, and we then need to change the colors in here. So I think with the colors, we had this as secondary, we had this as primary, and this was the danger color. But let's come into the icons over here and get back to our search. So like I said, you can just come in here and come and search for, like I did, Windows. Okay, so with the Windows, there's a Windows icon we are using, and as you can see, it is bi-windows. Okay, so that's exactly what I used. So let's look for the camera, and I think let's search for the word camera. Sorry, let's search for camera. So this is what I had. So I had camera, so bi-camera-reels. So I'll copy this and I'll put this over here. So I'll do a Control V and I'll save this, and I think this was danger for the text of the icon, and I think Apple was this, and then Windows was secondary for the color of the icons. All right, so I'll save this, and once I get back over here, we have this neatly styled over here, and this is looking exactly like what we have over here. All right, so the next thing is to have this session. In previous versions of Bootstrap, I think with version 4, there was a particular component called Jumbotron, which has been taken out. So this whole section is kind of behaving like the Jumbotron. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come down here to the end profile and have a new session over here. So let me just call this Jumbo section, and I'll do a Shift Alt down arrow key to duplicate this and give the end Jumbo section over here. So as you can see, this is going to be a container fluid because it is stretching across the viewport. So we have a container, so dot container dash fluid. So with this container fluid, we have some few things working out over here. So the entire background is going to be a BG info. So let's do a bg dash info over here. Then I also had of 5 around it. Okay, so once I come in here and come and refresh, you can see this showing up over here. Good. Let's also do a margin bottom over here so that we can separate this. So let's do an MB of yeah, let's do 5 so that we have some space down there. Now once I come in here, like we have over here, you can see that we have this text, okay, and this button over here. Now these are being put in different columns. Okay, so I have some columns over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this text. So I'll do a Control C, and what I have over here is I have call. No, first of all, let me have a row, and I'll do a call dash, and I'll do MD dash 8 over here, and I'll have this paragraph. I'll paste this over here, and the next thing I'll need is a dot call dash MD4, and that's where I'm going to have the button, okay, of contact me. So this is going to be a link or an anchor tag, and I'll say contact. So I'm going to put in some Bootstrap classes over here. So I'm going to have btn dash info. It's going to be btn outline dash light. Okay, so I'll save this, and contact me. Here we have contact over here, so this is supposed to be contact me. So let's do a contact me, contact me this way. Now I apply some few tricks over here. Let me touch on those tricks. So as you can see, the border looks a little bit thick over here, okay, as compared to this. So what I did was I added in a border. Okay, so I did something like border dash 5. Okay, so when I do a border dash 5, you can see that the border is going to be thicker. Okay, so I think this should be about 3. So border dash 3, and I think we are good to go. All right, so this is exactly like what we have over here. Okay, so this text is obviously not looking cool, okay, from the way it is behaving over here. So let's come in here, and I just want to apply a class over here. So I can do a class of txt dash white, then I'm going to do a txt dash center. So when I do this and come back, now you can see that everything is beginning to take shape over here. Everything is beginning to take shape. Now what I need to is to increase this. Okay, so in order to just use a paragraph, let's just use an h3. Okay, so that we don't have to be adding classes for adding sake. So we have h3 over here, and this is looking like what we have over here. Now we need to go into the today's block section. Okay, so with the today's block, we have a title over here, which is today's block. And so let me just copy this for the meantime. Then we have these 2 sessions being divided into 2 calls. Okay, so we have a container because of the gaps over here. So we have a container. So let's come in here and let's add in a section. So I'll do a comment over here, then I'll say block section, and I'll do a shift alt down arrow key, and I'll say end block section. So I can have in the container class, I can have in my row, and I can have in my call dash md6. Then this is going to be where I have the accordion. So once again, I'll come in here, and inside of my component I have accordion, and we are just going to pick up the very first one, a very simple one. So I just copy this, come in here and paste it over here. So I'll save this, and the only modification I did over here was just change the text. So I just changed this one to, let's say, block 1. So blog post 1, and we have blog post 2, then we had blog post 3. All right, so I'll save this and come and have a preview of it. Okay, it's not looking bad. Okay, it's not looking bad. So all that we need to have now is to have this title and this text over here. Okay, so first of all, the title, and the title is going to appear somewhere at the very top. Okay, so just before we have these calls, just under the row, you can have an H3, and I'll have today's post. Let me just go and copy this. So today's blog. So Control C, and I'll paste this over here, and let's give it a class of txt-center, then txt-primary, and I'll save this, and yeah, that's what we have over here. So what I then need to do is to give it some margin to the bottom. So I just come here and do MB dash, and let's do 4 over here and see how it looks. And 4 is not looking bad, but then let's make it 5. All right, so 5 looks cool. Okay, and let's just give the entire section a margin bottom, because all the sections we have over here will then have a margin bottom. So let's just put it on the row. So margin bottom of 5. All right, then the next side of the call is going to have the image. So first of all, let me just collapse this so that we don't get confused. Okay, so we have this accordion collapsed. Okay, so this is a call, and this is where it ends. So we have the other section. So I'll do a call dash md6, and inside of this is going to be the image. So the image, once again, I'll just do yes, and this is the side image. So I'll save this, and once we come in here, you can see that this is also becoming or behaving like what we had over here. And remember what we did? We just applied an image fluid class on the image. So all that I need to do is to come in here and bring in an image. So img-fluid class. So once I save this and come back, you can see that everything is looking good. Okay, now what I had over here was I had this text. Okay, so this text, let me just copy this. So I'll do a Control C, and I'll just have to bring it up. So that's also going to appear just under this. Okay, so just under this, I'm going to have this particular text. So let's have this in a paragraph for now. No, let's do an H3. Let's put this in an H3, and let's save this. And I think, yeah, this is it. Okay, so we need to bring this particular one down, and yeah, I think that's all. So I think, yeah, I applied the fonts. So let me do a class of font width of bold, and try this and see. So I'll do a Control S to save this, and here we are. Okay, so let me just put a margin bottom over here because I have some space over here for us. So I can do an MB of 4. I think most of my margin bottoms had been 5, so let me try 5 and see. All right, this looks good. This looks good. Okay. No, so I mean, this is what we have. Okay, so this looks good. And let me see. It kind of looks different. I don't know exactly what's happening. I think we are making progress. So basically, we have these little changes, or I mean, slight changes coming up over here. But then, the most important thing is we have this design on and going. All right, so we have this section sorted out. Now, the next thing we need to look at is the location. So with the location, you can see that we have, I mean, we are repeating almost the same thing, but then applying different concepts of things in the build-up. So also in the location, we have this container fluid because it stretches across the viewport. Then we have these two sections over here. So core MD6, then pretty much this location, everything over here. So let's come in here and let me do a comment section over here. So I'll say location section. Then I'll do a shift alt down arrow key to duplicate this and come in here and say end location. So I'll do a container dash fluid. Then I'll do a role over here and call dash md dash 6 for the map. Let me just type in map over here. Okay, I'm later going to show you exactly how we are going to get about this. And what I need now is I need to come in here inside of the row and do a call dash md6 for the form. All right, so with the form, we are going to get into the nitty-gritty of this. Okay, so here we have a text. So let's have this h3 contact text over here. So let's do an h3 and I'll say contact. So I'll save this and let's see. So we have this showing up over here. Let's put up a margin. So let's do an MB-5. So I have the space down here. All right. And now let's put out what I had over here was, you can see that there's some slides. This is supposed to be at the very top, but there's some margin. Okay. Oh no, I think there's a padding. Okay, the internal distance. So and let me come over here. This particular, or where we have the contact, I think I had a P-4 over here. So some padding. Yeah, and I think this was just about it. So now let's look at the form. Okay. Now there are a number of things we can do. And let me show you exactly what we had. So we had this text over here. So let me bring this and I'll do a Control-C. Let me add some font weight over here. And let's do a class of FW-bold. So that we have this thick. All right, this is looking good. Now what I did, or what we had was, we had a paragraph and I'll paste in what I just copied over here. And that's essentially what we have. Let me see. So there's some kind of gap over here. Let's do that. So obviously a margin button over here. So let's do an MB of, let's say 2. Let's do an MB3. Okay, so now let's have our form. Yeah, so what we have over here is a text box and some few things over here. So we have the text, the email, the subject, and the text area. So we have some inputs. So first of all, let's have a form. Okay. And inside the form, we can have an input of type text. So we have this text over here. Now let's forget about the name and the ID. And let's add in a placeholder. So the placeholder is going to be, I think here, name. So when I do this and save and come back here, you can see that we have this name over here. We then need to add in a Bootstrap class to start things up. Okay. So all that we need to do is to add in a class over here. So I'll do a class, and the name of this class is going to be form-control. So the form control class is basically everything that handles forms in here for us. So as you can see, this is a form control class. But what I had over here was I had some kind of demarcation over here. So I divided this section into 2 equal parts. Okay, so I had like core 6 and core 6 over here. So in order to get that done, we can actually put this in a core. Okay, we can actually apply, and let's do this. We can apply a row class over here onto the form. Okay, so this becomes like a row. Then what I can now do is I'll just cut this, okay, and do a core dash 6, so that this is now behaving like the core within that row. So when I save this and come back here, you can see that this has now taken half of it. Okay, this has now taken half of it. So we can now add in other calls within that row. So I'll just do a control C and control V over here, and now this is going to be an email field. So this is going to be an email field, and I'm going to say, let's say name at email.com, okay, for the placeholder. And this is exactly what we want. All right, so there are some few things I realize now. You can see that this is a little bit small as compared to what we have over here. Okay, and what I did was I just added in another class over here. So let me just copy this. That's basically the form control class, an extension of it. So it's just form control dash sm. Remember most of the sm things that we've spoken about. So when I save this and come back here, you can see that this is now a little bit smaller as compared to this. So that's exactly what we did over here. So let me add this here as well, dash sm. And the next obvious thing we have over here is we had this text field. Okay, so this text field is just going to behave like this with a placeholder of just name or subject, sorry. So what I have is I'm just going to come in down here, and I'm just going to have an input of type text. Okay, I'm going to ignore the things over here and add in a placeholder, and I'll say subject. So subject is going to have a class of form dash control. Then I'm going to make it small, so I'm going to say form dash control dash sm. So I'll save this, and here we are. Okay, so something might have gone wrong. Actually, nothing went wrong. Okay, nothing went wrong, but I just have to put it at the appropriate place. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'll do a control X, and all that I need is I have this row, and okay, so I just have to get a core dash md12, then I'll just paste this over here, and I think we are in business now. I need to give this a margin, so let me just apply a margin button over here. So within this I think within this core, okay, I can do an my, so margin to the top and bottom, and I'll do my3. So my3 is going to put this in good shape for us. Okay, now the last thing, or the next thing we have over here is a text area. So I can also copy this. I'll do a control C, and I'll paste this over here, and this is going to be a text area. So let me just be very careful over here. So I'll do text area like this. Okay, and the number of rows I want is the number of calls. I don't think I need number of calls over here. So the number of rows I want over here is like 5, and I'll just have to add in the class, okay, of a text, or I mean a form control class over here. So I'll just come in here and I'll do form dash control, then I'll do form dash control, dash sm. So I'll save this, and yeah, I think this is looking good. Now the last thing I need is the button, and I think this is making it too big. Imagine button, and yeah, I think this is looking cool. So the button is just going to be a link tag or an anchor tag with what I have over there. So this is going to be an input of type submit, okay, and the value is going to be send message. So send message, then I'm going to have a class of btn dash primary, then I'll do a btn dash sm to make it small. So when I save this and come back over here, we can see that we seem to have an issue over here. Yeah, I think for the purposes of what we are trying to accomplish over here, let me just put this outside of this. I'll need to check this out and maybe do a video to do a correction, okay? But basically this is what we have, and let's do a btn dash sm. All right, so btn dash sm is going to make this show up this way. So we have this contact form being displayed. Now the next thing we would want to do is to have this map, okay? And this is, I mean, this has got nothing to do with Bootstrap, but then I felt it was a cool feature I needed to add in order to make our interface look very nice as we had it over there. So now let's go into Google Map, okay? So let's do a Google Map, and let's just go and get a location. So it can be anywhere, okay? So search for location, and let me use the University of Ghana. So University of Ghana, Accra. And what you then need to do is to get click on this share, okay? Want to embed it in a map, okay? Embed a map. So it's going to give us this iframe tag, and there are quite a number of things over here. All right, you don't need to worry too much about this, but we need to copy this HTML. So it has this copied, and we need to come in here. So where we have our map, okay, that's why I left this over here. We just have to put this over here. So Control V, and then we save. There are some few things we are going to do over here, but for now, let's keep it this way. So if I close this one up, obviously we don't need this again. You can see that this map is showing up over here, but it's not showing as we wanted it, okay? Now bear in mind, and let me just, for the purpose of this, let me show you. Now when this is the original one that we've already built, okay? Now when I stretch this, you can see that it is responsive to, I mean, everything showing up over here. And once it gets to the very small screen size, you can see that this takes shapes and everything is looking, I mean, cool over here. All right, let me go back to what we have, and I'll show what we are building. So this is what we are building, okay? So far we have to resize some few things over here, but then when I shrink this, you can see that this is now beginning to behave funny, okay? So you can see that it is not kind of respecting what we intend doing, okay? And basically there are some other things we are also going to work on, because for instance, on this smaller screen size, these ones are too stacked up, okay? We are going to give some margins, and we are going to fix this as well, and some few other things, okay? This one too, we just have to give some margin here and there. So in order to fix this and not to make this look a little bit creepy like we have it over here, imagine somebody using a tablet. This is how the website is going to appear, and it doesn't look too good. So what we can do is we need to style things up over here. So as you can see, we have the width is 600 pixels. Let's change the height to 800 pixels. So I'll do 800 over here and save. And the height is beginning to look a little bit longer. Okay, that's not bad. And first of all, let me have this location showing up over here. So let me have an H3 of the word location. All right, then let me start things over here. So I can have a txt dash center, then I'll have a txt dash primary. So I'll save this and let's see. Okay, let's give a margin to the button over here, and I'll do an MB-5. Okay, so here we are. Now we need to stretch this a little bit so we can work with the height, the width. Now let's, instead of this, let's do a width of 800 and a height of 600. I think that'll work out perfectly for us. So you can see that this is looking not too bad, but then it is overstretching. So let's decrease the width a little bit to, let's say, 700. Let's do a width of 700. A width of 700 is not bad. Let's kind of open it up a little bit, just a little bit. So let's do a width of 710 and see. All right, so I think a width of 710 is not bad, but the problem still remains. Okay, when we resize this or get to a medium screen size, we are having this problem over here, which doesn't look cool. So what we are going to do is, it's going to be very simple, and all that we need to do is to come into the core, okay, where we have this map, okay, and do a display flex over here. So we do a deflex like this. So I'll save this. I'll do a Control S over here, and when this is refreshed, okay, and now when I shrink it, you can see that it resizes and it kind of behaves itself. Okay, let me put it that way. And now finally, when we get into the medium screen size, you can see that it changes and this is now displayed in a better way. Okay, so the display flex property is helping us achieve this. Okay, and I had to do a lot of research on this. So it's very simple, but then you have to know exactly what you are doing. So this looks cool for all screen sizes. All right, now let's complete everything so that we can just quickly handle the few patches we need to work on. So the next one is going to be the footer. So finally we are getting into the footer, and let's come down here and have this comment over here. So I have the footer, and I'm just going to do a Shift Alt down arrow key to duplicate this and do end footer. So the footer, I'm going to have a container fluid because that's what it is. And inside of the container fluid, let's have a background dark, and let's have a padding of 5. Okay, so for starters, this is what we are going to have. Now we have 3 calls over here. Okay, we have this call 1, call 2, call 3. So let's do a roll over here and do a call MD4 because we want 3 of them. So 4 times 3 is going to be 12. And within the first section, we just have quick links. Okay, so let me just do quick links, and I think that should be in an I think a paragraph tag. So let me do quick links. So I'll save this and let me just have a preview of it and see. Okay, so I need to change the text. So let's have everything in this row, or this column, txt white. No, that's going to conflict with some of the things you are going to do over here. So let's just have this a class of txt dash white. So when I save this and come back here, we have this quick links showing up over here. All right, then all that we can do is to bring these links over here. So these links, first of all, if you are to just put it in an anchor tags are inline elements, so they are going to be lined up, okay, but then we need it in a block form. So what I did was to actually put this all in a paragraph. So I have this, and I have like FAQ, frequently asked questions, and yeah, that's just about it. And this is the FAQ, and this the FAQ that we have. But then as you can see, this is underlined and we want to get rid of it. So I just added in a class of the text dash decoration property, and I did none over here. So text decoration none is going to take away the underlining thing over here. Now what I did was to center this. So I actually centered everything. So what I can do is to come inside of the row and do a txt dash center. So txt dash center is going to center what we have over here. So that's exactly what we can see. So the next thing is obviously to duplicate this link and changing the text services work lane. So I'm just going to do a shift alt and a down arrow key, okay, and I'll do services and I think work, and the last link is lane. All right, so here we have services work lane and the quick link. So I think this is just the design we have over here. Okay, now the next one is the social links. So with the social links, let me also try and locate the call. So there's a call. We all have to be in the row. Okay, so I'll do a dash call dash md, and it's still 4 over here. So md4, and we have a text of social link. So let me do a paragraph, and there's going to be social links. And for the social links, like I said, I have these Bootstrap icons over here. So let me just grab in one of the icons and apply common sense to change what I have in there. So let's go to the cards, and that's where we had these icons showing up. So let's just copy this, Control C, and come into the footer, and let's have this in a div tag. So let me have this anchor link over here and paste this right about here. All right, so when I do this and come back here, we are going to see this. I think this is supposed to be white as well. So let me just have a class over here of txt-white. All right, so this is supposed to be like our YouTube, our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So I think I can do Facebook over here. Let me see. I think Facebook is going to work. Let me do a shift alt and a down arrow key to duplicate this 3 times, and let's see, we have Facebook. Let's have Instagram and Twitter. So Instagram and Twitter. So I'll save this, and we have this over here. So now let's style things up over here, because as you can see, they are looking a little bit bigger over here and they have some styling. So let's come in here and add in a class of, let's do an h4 and a txt dash primary. Let's save this and let me see how it looks. Okay, I think it's just about the same size, and let me give a margin x of 1, okay, and to be quick, let me just copy this, Control C, come in here, do a Control V, save this, and also do a Control V and save it as well. All right, then I think this was info and this was danger for the red color. So I'll save this, and here we are. Okay, it's looking kind of cool. All right, so these are the social links, and the last obvious thing is going to be the contact S. So the contact X is going to be the last of the calls we have over here. So let me just copy this and change some few things, because this one was going to be like this. So I'll copy this and bring it over here, and the text is going to be contacts. It's supposed to be contact me because it's a portfolio website, so I don't know who is working over here. So contact me. Okay, and all that I had over here was this telephone icon and the mail icon. But what I actually did was I used the proper HTML tags over there. So for a link tag, you can actually have a link of tail, and this link of tail will have an href of tail, and we can add in any number. Okay, so what will actually happen is any person who clicks on this link, if it is a mobile phone, is actually going to call a number or this number. Okay, it's actually going to dial this number. And the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to do an anchor tag of mail. So this is also going to send a mail. So you can do admin@mail.com, and this is going to send a mail. Now you need to put in the icons over here. So for the icons, let's go back to this and come back over here, and let's search for telephone. So for the telephone icons, we use this one. All right, so let me just copy this and paste it over here, Control V, like we have this. And I think for the mail, it was envelope. Okay, so let me say envelope. I think, yeah, with this one. So I'll just copy this and come back here and come and paste it right over here. So I'll save this, and if I'm to come back here, we can see that we have these links showing up. Now let's do the little styling we have over here. So let's do a class of, first of all, txt secondary to have that grayish color, and let's do an h4 over here as well, and let's do an mx2. So I'll save this and I'll just copy this. So I'll do a Control C and apply the same class over here as well, or the same classes actually, and this is what we have. Okay, it's almost the same. I mean, there are going to be slight differences, but basically this is what we have. All right, so this is what we had. Okay, and this is what we have built. Okay, the replica. I mean, we've gone through this whole session one after the other. Now there are some few issues we are going to run into if we decide to look at the responsiveness of this website, and we are going to fix them gradually. So now when we shrink this, okay, you can see that it is beginning to look a little bit funny as we have it over here, and that's because we haven't made it responsive enough. It is only going to respond to this particular breakpoint. That's like about the small screen size. Okay, so this is what I want us to do. I want us to have at a medium screen size, let's display only 2 cards over here. Okay, or 2 cards per row. And in order to do that, let's go to the cards. So with the cards, and I think I made a mistake over here. I think this is supposed to be portfolio. What was I thinking? All right, so with the cards, we can see that all that we did was we just did a core MD 3 over here. Actually, what we should be doing is we need to have a core MD6. Okay, so that's at the medium screen size, we are just going to have 2 columns. Okay, so we do core MD6. We can do a core MD6 over here. So we are changing everything to MD6 and core MD6 over here as well, and core MD6. So I'll save this and let's have a preview of it. So this is what we want, core MD6. Now when it stretches very big, it is behaving funny. This is not what we want. Okay, but obviously the small size is okay. Now we are satisfied with the core MD6. Okay, now let's look at the LG or the extra large. So the LG is going to be core LG, then we do that 3. Okay, so this is very systematic. You don't need to rush about this thing. So we can do core dash LG dash 3 for this one. So let me just copy this, do a Control-C, and I needed to do it this way for beginners to actually appreciate why we need some of these things. And finally, I think I'll need to have this over here. All right, so I'll save this, and I'll see we have this at the large screen size. Okay, we don't seem to have any problem. Now once we get into the medium screen size, yes, this is still looking cool, and if we get to the small screen size, we don't have any problem. But clearly you can see that there are no, I mean, there's nothing separating this if it gets small, and all that we need to do is to just put out a margin Y. So let's do a margin Y of 1, so that at every breakpoint we are going to see some kind of margin to the top and bottom. So let's just do this, bring this over here, bring this over here as well, and finally bring this over here. So when I save this, now you can see that we have the separation over here. Okay, when it gets to the very small screen size, you can see the separation as well, and obviously for the big one we don't seem to have any problem. It's only when it gets to this particular breakpoints that we seem to have some issues over here. All right, so that's with the first thing we fixed. Let me see the other things over here. Okay, so this is looking cool. We don't seem to have any issue over here. All right, I think this is the other thing we need to sort out, and yeah, also this one too. So let's go to the accordion and the, yeah, so this is the accordion. All that I need is, I just want an MY of 1 over here, and let me put an MY of 1 here as well. So MY-1, and when I save this, you can see that there's this separation over here and it looks cool. All right, so this is obviously okay. We can also put some kind of yeah, we can separate things over here. So let's come down here to the footer section, and we can just put an MY. Okay, so all that we need is for all the calls over here. So for the quick link, okay, for the call, let's do an MY1. So let me just copy this, Control-C, and yeah, that's the social link, the quick link, or we have this over here, and finally let's put this over here as well. So I'll save this, and here we have some separation. Let me refresh this. Yeah, I mean we do have some separation over here. All right, so let's look at the final thing over here, which is, or which happens to be this. Okay, now that's like the Jumbotron session we created ourselves. Okay, and I think the whole issue is coming up from this. So we had a call, so let's do 6 and 6 and C. Okay, so I think we had a TXT center over here. Okay, so we also needed to do a TXT center over here. So TXT dash center. Let's save this, and yeah, I think we are okay for now. Let me come back here. Yeah, I think this is looking pretty much like what we had with the original design. Okay, yeah, so this is what we had. All right, and on the mobile screen size, yeah, everything looks cool. Let's kind of separate this a little bit. So we just have to come in here and let's say do an my of 1 and repeat that over here, an my of 1 as well. So when I save this, you can see that there's a little bit of separation and this looks cool. Now remember, I did a preview, I mean this way. So normally after going through this whole thing, I also urge you to also go to your, right click and go to inspect, and Chrome is going to give you this interface, which is pretty much awesome, because this is actually going to give you the exact screen size of different types of phones. Okay, so that you can actually have a preview of how your website is going to look. So this an iPhone X, okay, and this is how our website is going to look on an iPhone X. And I think everything over here looks okay. Okay, everything over here looks okay. Our map is looking great. We can zoom in and zoom out, and everything is looking perfect. Then we have our contact us section over here, and yeah, everything is looking good. Now let's preview this on an iPad Pro, and these are very important stuff because you'd want to know exactly how your website is going to look on different screen sizes. Okay, so for an iPad, this is looking awesome, not too bad. Then let's look at it on, let's say, an iPad. Okay, so this is going to be an iPad interface, and yeah, it doesn't look bad for an iPad, and it has this overflow around it, but I don't think it's too much of a problem. And let's look at it on a Galaxy phone. So on a Galaxy phone as well, this is looking good. And yeah, so this is going to be the end of this video. Now, if you find this tutorial very interesting, there are a couple of ways you can help me grow my channel. Kindly subscribe to Kembro Tech, and don't forget to hit on the notification button so that anytime I release a video, you'll be duly notified. Also, share this video with friends and family who find this content very useful. At Kembro Tech, we say learn programming. You can do it. Bye bye, and catch you in the next video.